All right, well, let's rock and roll, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to today's Fire Up training. Before we get started, just a few important notes. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our website. This is where you can find recordings of past Fire Up trainings, product information, and other helpful resources anytime, day or night. Since today's session is being recorded, please go ahead and turn off your cameras and keep your mics muted during the presentation. We'll have a Q&A at the end, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go or hang on to them until that time. Don't forget to put our Fire Up trainings on your calendar for every Wednesday morning through March and attend as much as possible for a chance to win a Pit Boss pellet grill. Now, let's get to the reason why we're here today. We're going to learn about soy. We're excited to have Newfields Ag BDM Jeremy Parr with us, and he's going to talk to us about we're built for this, soybean solutions, built for performance. Jeremy, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So this morning I'm excited to be here as I share my screen. Okay. Do you see that, Jamie?
Looks good.
So yeah, this morning I'm here excited to talk to you about soybeans. I know this year is very much a year that people are not excited about soybeans, as there's potential for planting them and taking a loss. So I'm here to walk you through one example of how I'm trying to help people make some money with soybeans. So a little bit of a repeat here from my last presentation, but just in case you didn't see that, when you Newfields Ag is built for this. 4 benefits when using an NFA product is we help prevent risk, maximize output, minimize limiting factors, and take advantage of opportunities. So all these benefits must be weighed when utilizing a product or practice in challenging times. Just a few things that we can bring to the equation. As you look through the list, lower cost of production is a big thing I'm going to talk about today. So not only are we hopefully reducing your total spend, but also reducing the cost on every bushel raised. And we do that in 2 ways by, first reducing that cost, but then also increasing bushels. Nothing reduces your cost of production per bushel faster than raising more bushels. So let's get started here. I'm highlighting a program today. This is not the only program that I use, but this is one that I think most people can use and get some good benefit out of. Each application has a purpose. Know why you are using a product. Results can vary and will vary from year to year based on conditions. But if you know why you're using that product, when you don't see the result you're looking for, you probably know that that condition didn't exist. Always start with a dust inclusion, in my opinion. Always, always, always. I spend 90% of my time getting guys to look at dust inclusions and start with a dust inclusion. There's no yield contest won when you didn't get off to a great start. So let's get off to a great start with a dust inclusion and build that program from there. One of the things that we're trying to do with a lot of this program is make sure you have optimum supply available during peak usage. I think a lot of guys get caught up with trying to have an optimum supply, but not necessarily when they need it. Keep in mind here, we often romanticize what is easy. Nothing more in the agricultural business. A lot of guys like doing something because it's easy. Change can be hard but rewarding. Difficult times drive innovation. Doing the same practices will not change outcomes. So that's what we're here to talk to today about, changing some practices and therefore changing outcomes. So I'm going to spend a little time here. I've tried to put together a little running savings here. So ultimately, I'm my spreadsheet chart here is going to focus on the savings that are generated during the planting cycle here. So the yield output, we can talk about that at the end. Ultimately, this program, will probably run on average between 8 and 15 bushels more soybeans, depending on the year. High yielding years, sometimes a little bit more. Lower yielding years, sometimes a little bit less. But the first two things we're going to start off with, and this is what everybody should be doing, in my opinion, my experience, this is non-negotiable. And the first item on that list has nothing to do with anything that NFA sells, but we can help you do this. So we're going to lower that planting population down to 110,000 or less. We're going to plant early and plant less. Those are two things that are going to drive this program. And when we do that, we're also going to see better results from the rest of the program. So we have to build a soybean or have a soybean plant that's capable of being high yielding, and we do that by planting less soybeans. Victor RYZ is the dust inclusion of choice. It's pretty much the only dust inclusion that I recommend in soybeans. Many things that Victor RYZ is bringing to the table, including the dust and the micro algae are helping that soybean emerge strong, get off to a fast, even start that the plant can thrive. When the plant is thriving, it's going to be more resilient to what the growing season brings at it. So also has B4 in it to help with some nutrient solubilization. And it also has the Terracin 401 that's been selected for soybeans as a probiotic to make sure that that plant is thriving in that respect also. Again, no yield contest was ever won with a bad start. So let's plant early, plant less, use Victor RYZ to get off to that great start. For many of you, this is where the program will end. That's what you're going to use, but we'll throw some things here to see what else you can do to increase the profitability in your soybeans. So next thing I'm going to add is TS601, and we'll mix that in with the Victor RYZ. 601 is our new biological fungicide. It's a broad spectrum full season fungicide, so kind of first in the industry that for a fungicide that's actually you put on right away and is going to be there until the bitter end of the soybean plant. Really good on and it was first labeled on a lot of your root and seedling diseases, including Pythium. It's also going to help with sudden death and white mold. So I think that's going to cover two of the big diseases that we have out there. And, we have some products that provide some protection. If you're using them also, you're going to see even better protection. But 601 is a product we're pretty excited about in soybeans. And it helps eliminate one of the problems we see with the foliar fungicides. A lot of time I think we do get some stress mitigation from the strobilurins, but I know 2 years ago the Iowa State lab didn't have a single leaf disease sent to the lab that was controlled by a foliar fungicide. And as you can see with the 601, we will control a broad spectrum of diseases there in soybeans. And, there's more research indicating that the strobins are associated with green stems at harvest. So, even in the last couple of days, I've had a few conversations with guys on yields and dry soybeans, harvesting at 7 to 9% soybeans, and realizing the impact that has on total yield. So if we can reduce green stems, hopefully we can get out there at 14% soybeans and get to harvesting and maximize yields. Jamie, if somebody raises their hands, make sure and let me know here. So moving on. So the next step of the program, so this will be in a post herbicide application. So when you're putting that in list, or I guess this year we can use it with Extend also, tank mixing with the Roundup and so forth. We're going to add Carrier to the mix. So Carrier is I guess we'll say the plain version of the wettable powder. Same thing as dust, except it's a wettable powder and used in your sprayer solutions or seed treatments. In this case, we're going to use it as a carrier in that post herbicide application. I've compared it here to a Nano Yield Nano Pro. I tried to pick some products that you might see out there in those same practices that we can replace. One of the reasons I use this comparison here, Nano Pro is a cheap synthesized product. It is going to help get herbicide into the plant, and that's it. So for $1.68, 62, 72, for $1.72, with Carrier, you're going to add amino acids, which are, basic building blocks of the plants. Some of those acids will reduce stress and protect the plant against disease. Two, NanoPro can't do this. Carrier will help that plant survive that herbicide application. So we see this a lot with the enlist effect. You just don't get that gray, droopy soybean after that enlist application. Actually seen this probably even more in corn a year ago, even though I screwed up and didn't target it on corn. But that Carrier is really going to help with that plant dissecting and getting rid of the herbicide. And the third thing it's going to do is same thing as the NanoPro is going to do, is it's going to help get that herbicide into the plant. So Carrier's doing at least three things for your plant, three basic things for your plant. The Nano Pro, even though it's cheaper, it's only doing one thing, so a lot more value from the Carrier. I also have customers that instead of Carrier in this application, they may use Growthful, or they could even use both. If you are looking at a little higher pH solution or want a lower pH solution, then Growthful is a good product to add there, as it will help reduce that pH of your solution. Also provides some hydrogen donation, very unique product in that case. And for about $4, Growthful is a great addition to the spray tank. So then we're looking at an application here that's done. I want to shoot for this application in an early reproductive stage. I think we need to get away from looking at that fungicide pass and call it a reproductive pass. And if I'm going to make a reproductive pass over and above anything else, I would rather be at the early stages of reproduction than the late stages of reproduction. So at this point, we're moving to the Carrier MA. We're spraying. We've got more plant to spray, so we're taking full advantage of the amino acid and microalgae that Carrier MA has. Spending about $9 on this pass versus I found several other products. There was too many to mention, so I just kind of chose an average competitive product at about $7. Again, we're a little bit higher priced, but again, we're bringing those plant-based amino acids to the mix along with microalgae. Getting a lot of value from that pass. Typically we're seeing in the 4 to 6 bushel range when we add that carrier MA to the mix, just based on its own. Also, we're looking at adding some 4 to 5 to that mix. This gets us a more broad spectrum micronutrient foliar feed. 4 to 5 is our amino acid chelate, so it's readily absorbed into the plant, is recognized by the plant, and therefore can move in the phloem throughout the plant instead of most products out there are going to feed the plant where they're at but not move around in the plant, reducing their effectiveness. If this pass has some herbicide in it, we would prefer not to be putting a herbicide on at this point, but as we all know, with our second favorite weed, water hemp, we need to take care of some of that at the time, and both your carrier MA and 4 to 5 are going to increase the effectiveness of that herbicide application at that plant while reducing the impact on the soybean plant. The last thing we're going to put in the tank at that point then is Frenzy. So Frenzy has proven results in soybeans. We want to get that on during the reproductive stage. That's when it seems to have the most impact in soybeans. So Frenzy is basically enzymes that feed the mitochondria in the plant. The mitochondria produce the energy in the plant. Ultimately, we are making sure that the plant can produce energy when it is needed the most. The reproductive cycle takes a lot of energy, so we're making sure we're providing maximum energy there with Frenzy. Frenzy was first introduced as a stress mitigation product, and the way it reduces stress is by producing energy. I think if you're in a really stressful situation, you'll probably be disappointed with Frenzy because it's going to make a difference, but you're still going to have disappointing soybean yields. But when we use it in more of a high yielding program, it's there to provide that 3 to 6 bushels that add on to the top. So in conclusion, took this slide from the last presentation, but we expect to have a financial contribution most of the time. If those conditions aren't there for what we're using a product for, we're less likely to have that contribution. Oftentimes we get better results the more we use these products. So, building that soil biome and improving that soil biology leads towards better yields with time. Sometimes protecting a plant from 1 or 2 specific threats does not contribute to yield in a given growing season. And, so therefore, if you use a program's approach, you're likely to see that much higher benefit. So the more broad spectrum plan employed increases the likelihood of a positive result. The really interesting thing about this space, and you can see with the 601 that we've added to the lineup this year, this whole space is getting better, and it's getting better rapidly. It's one of the reasons we don't print a product guide anymore. Our lineup changes so fast. By the time we print a product guide, we've got new products to share in this space. So make sure you're taking a look at those new products, and especially TS601. Little shorter presentation today than my corn one, but hopefully we've got a few more questions because of that today. So thanks for your attention, and I look forward to hearing some comments here.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much, Jeremy. That was awesome. At this time, we're going to go ahead and we will now move to our Q&A section for the next 10-15 minutes. We're going to discontinue the recording at this time and encourage you to take this time to ask the experts your questions. We will answer the questions in the chat that came through. I don't think I saw any. And then just go ahead, raise your hand or speak up if you have any questions for Jeremy.